Going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It is chaos to come back. Another announcement. I'm just gonna I'll get these out of the way right up front. I'm gonna start doing live streams on Thursdays from 6 to 8 Central Time. That'll be 7 to 9. Right? Yeah, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, whatever it is in your time zone. If you want to stop by. Oh man, what's this? All right, you want to stop by and chill? It'll be up and running. I'm so out of my mind, busy, behind. I'm realizing, oh, that's today. That's today. That's July 10th. When you're watching this video, it'll probably be next week. I seem to be about a week behind when I record to when I post. But I'm trying to get into a rhythm of having something to post every day, even if I don't record something every day. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying different things. That's all it is. I'm way behind. That's my biggest, I feel better energy-wise today. It's that first 2 days after the Monday at the bakery is rough. An hour and a half, give or take, let's say an hour and 40 minutes, let's say an hour 45 minutes. That's an hour and 45 minutes each way on the bicycle. So there's 3.5 hours of pretty heavy cycling with a 16-pound backpack on my back and then getting there and working an 8-hour day of tough 8-hour day. It's a tough place to work. There could be worse jobs. I know another job that I could have got when I was at my buddy's house was at a car wash, and to be honest, the car wash job would have been a lot more laid back and chill in terms of, it wasn't one of those you got time to lean, you got time to clean kind of deals. It was more like you might be sitting on a stool taking people's payments as they drive around, like you might be sitting on a stool doing a cashier thing. You might be having to hose down the car wash. I mean, there's physical. I think it would have been less physical labor, but I would have lost my hearing because of how loud that stuff is to be around all day. So these low-paying jobs, there's always going to be something about it. But I like where I work. I like the people I work with. But the physical nature of this bike ride combined with that, especially on Mondays when I'm doing, we have a delivery truck come every Monday, and it was a big order this week. Somebody helped me with it, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been in terms of the amount of work and heavy lifting, but it was, it's always, Monday I'm always wiped out from it. And after a hard workout, I've just noticed after a hard workout, this has been consistent throughout life, usually the next 2 days are tough to get through after a hard workout. A light workout, going on a quick hike, a quick bike ride, whatever. I've got to go to the bank today. It's going to be 14, 15, 16. I got to go to the bank and I've got to run one more errand, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to do a bank run today and drop off a check. And they tell me they have a mobile deposit on their app. I don't see it. I hate this bank though. This bank fucking sucks. I'm trying to get out of. I'm going to start looking for a new bank, for a local bank. Now that I'm getting settled into this place. I was just about to do that at my last living in the tool shed over there on the other side of town. And right about the time I was about to do that is when the scumbag slumlord started all his bullshit with me. But this place, things are so much better here. I don't have any beef with anybody here. I really don't know the people that live on the same, I haven't really gotten to know anybody. I don't speak Spanish, so that's an issue. But there's a guy who lives in one of the places right next door. I'm just kind of like, I keep to myself for a lot of different reasons. And there's just a part of me lately that just, I'm antisocial to an extent lately. And it just has to do with when you spent 2 years or 20 months being surrounded by assholes in prison constantly and never being able to get a break away from it, never having, the only time you might have a minute to yourself is when in the federal prison in Club Fed you could actually go to the bathroom and it was an actual bathroom instead of having to drop a deuce in your cell with your cellie curled up in a blanket while you drop it off. And so like just being surrounded by assholes 24/7 for months on end, and then coming home to being surrounded by a couple of assholes and then just being in a homeless shelter where I didn't think anybody there was an asshole. I don't remember there was nobody in the homeless shelter that I thought was an asshole, but I'm still surrounded by people all the time. I can't get a moment to myself. And then I'm living at my friend's house surrounded by people except for when they're gone. And these are good people. These are my friends. But the minute I got my own place, now when I lived at the tool shed, there were other people living on the property, people renting bedrooms from the guy in his house. So I had the landlord, 3 or 4 people renting bedrooms from him, and they were always out on the back patio watching TV and stuff, and I constantly had to go by them. And so I really didn't feel like, the minute I got a place to myself, which is here, I've shut the door and I've disappeared. I don't want, from August 2022 all the way till July 2025, June, July, whatever, I'm surrounded by people and I can't get away from them. So yeah, I don't want to be around anybody right now. It's just, I've had enough. I've had my fill and I'm ready to be alone for a bit. And so none of you, if you went through the shit I've been through, would feel any different. You wouldn't want to be around anybody. You would go through a period of time where you just want to, like, I'm at the point right now, I would like to just wander off into the wilderness and fucking disappear completely. But that's not realistic. So, but yeah, just feeling behind, and the problems, the biggest problems I had were, living in that tool shed with that scumbag slumlord, not being able to take showers, just the whole thing. He's trying to strong arm and bully me into, scamming me out of money and everything else under the sun. And the constant cycling to a bakery job 25 miles each way and backbreaking labor. Like, I was done. You saw it in those videos. The last month I lived in that place, I was finished. And so now it's like I'm only working at the bakery twice a week, but that feels like it's the biggest obstacle in my path of getting to the next level. And I don't mean that, like, I don't dislike my job. There's multiple ways I can solve the problem. I'm trying to get the money put back together to get a car. There's a guy here who wants to send me a car. I just have to find somebody to ship it. and pick it up and bring it here, and that's shipping for a car that far is about $1,200 as far as I can see. And so I'll have the money put back in my account soon. But I've got other bills to pay, and the first month of living in this new place was financially, whoa. I drained everything I had into this place, and I'm still not where I want to be, but I've slowed my roll over the last, I'd say, well, what is it? Since it's been 41 days. I think today is 41 days. And the first 2-3 weeks, I just it did a lot. And then I had to slow down and just get the bills paid. And so now I'm kind of like in that. The same exact thing happened when I moved into that tool shed. I drained my funds down to like almost nothing. And then I had to start rebuilding it. And then when I finally got to the point where things were starting to rebuild, I had to put everything I had into moving here. And I wasn't ready for it. So, whatever at this point. I've had worse problems than I have now, but that's what I'm trying to figure out now is how, because, okay, so I go to the bakery on Saturdays and Mondays. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are done. Like, I went to church on Sunday. That felt good, but I would go to that church again. I would go to that church a handful of times just to see what it is. Like, I didn't really, it wasn't like, yeah, I'm coming back. You know, it was kind of like, in terms of churches. Now, you know, up in New York, I went to a variety of different churches, and I feel like all the churches I went to up in Jamestown were better than any of the churches I've gone to here. I don't know. So, something about Texas. I'm not a big fan of Texas. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate the weather. It has been raining a lot lately. Obviously, you've seen it on the news, but here in Houston, you know, we're not getting those floods, at least yet. I mean, they haven't sent the cloud seeding planes, I guess, over this way yet. They haven't decided to drown out the city of Houston just yet. Maybe we're next on the list. I don't fucking know. But that's not even the topic of today's video. But generally speaking, I like it. I like the heat. All you people are like, oh, he's going to hate the hot weather. He's going to hate it. It's July 10th. So when am I going to hate it? Tell me. I like the heat when I'm out on my bike. I like being warm. I like wearing t-shirts and shorts and being warm. You heard me complaining about the weather all winter long, and here the winters are pretty mild. I would like to live someplace that would never see if you ever saw a snowflake get your milk and your bread and your beans and rice and your ammo and your everything, because the end days are just around the bend. You know, like someplace like Epstein Island would be a great place to live, because I don't think it ever snowed there. So I wonder, that's for sale, isn't it? Has anybody bought Epstein Island yet? I bet you could get a really good deal on it, because I don't think anybody wants it. Who knows what you're going to find if you start digging around. Like, you want to build something new on Epstein Island, you start digging a hole. What are you going to find? Who fucking knows? I mean, you're going to find like 150 skulls of children, and then you're going to have to stop your building project, and who knows what authorities you have to call to come look at what the fuck going on there. It's like when they dug up the ground underneath one of Ben Franklin's houses in Europe. I think it was in France. They found like 600 skeletons under the place or something like that. They're like, wait a minute, what the fuck was old Ben doing when he was hanging out in France? There was something shady going on there. But speaking of France, perfect segue here. I'm watching the Tour de France, but in the perfect metaphor of my busy life, I'm way behind on the Tour de France. They're running stage 6 today, I believe, right? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, they're on stage 6 now, and I still haven't even finished watching stage 4. I'm like, I haven't even gotten to the part on stage 4 where they're actually trying to race, and I've been trying to watch. But you're talking about 5 hours a day. If you're watching the actual Tour de France, the coverage, if you were to watch it live, you'd have to get up at 5 in the morning and watch it until 11 a.m. every day. It'd be, the only way you can do that is if you're a housewife. So, I'm just taking little bits at a time. I'll take a break, go watch a little bit. At night, instead of watching Star Wars, I'll just turn on the tour, pick up where I left off. So whenever the Tour de France is over, I'm probably going to be way behind, and I'm going to try not to know who won, just because it's like watching a Netflix. It's like watching a Netflix series and binge watching it over a period of time. But I only got like a couple hours here at the end of the day to watch a 5-hour race, so it's going to take a while. But it is a perfect metaphor because it's the exact same feeling that I have in life right now. It's going to take me, I bet I might finish watching stage 4 tonight, and stage 7 will be tomorrow. So I'll be watching stage 5 tomorrow. But then they have a rest day on, I believe it's next Tuesday. I don't even know what day the rest day is. And then like Sunday, Sunday I'll get to watch a little more. Like time-wise, I'll probably veg out on Sunday because the bakery's got me working Saturday. Then I'm wiped out for Sunday. I'm thinking I'm going to go to church again Sunday. I have bicycles to work on. I have so much stuff to do. If I made a to-do list of everything that's bothering me right now, it would put me in a panic attack to look at it. To the point where, like, I have to choose, do I go to church or do I tune up my bicycles and get them both in tip-top shape so that, if something goes wrong with one bike, I can ride the other. And I thought, I'll do it during the week, but that's not happening. The bakery on Saturday leaves me pretty wiped out on Sunday. And then Monday is like, yo. And so Tuesday and Wednesday, I can get things done here, but I'm dragging. I am, like, the way I felt Tuesday and Wednesday this week is just miserable. Miserable. It's that 2 days after an intense workout, you work out really, really hard. Really hard. Like you got a personal trainer screaming and yelling at you kind of workout. And you just push yourself beyond your limits, and then for the next 2 days you can barely walk. That's what it feels like. And then I've got today, tomorrow, and back to the bakery. And it's like I would get more done if I could just cut that thing out, the bakery out completely, and just focus on this. Because I would have a day or 1 or 2 days max every week where I do things that I'm not really getting paid for, but then I'd have like 4 or 5 days a week where I'm getting paid and getting those things caught up and projects caught up and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, I don't know. I compare my energy level now to when I was homeless. Now I was homeless. I was walking around Jamestown, New York. I walked 590 miles last year. Most of that was between May 1st and the beginning of September. So, May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. I was walking over 100 miles a month. And I wasn't as tired as I am now. Not even close. I had way more energy. There were days that I was wiped out. Now, if I had to go there were times I would have to walk. I think the most wiped out I ever got when I was homeless was when my boots wore out, and I could tell that I really need a new pair of boots, and I need to do it today. I don't have a choice. I had to walk all the way to Walmart, which was about, 6 miles? I think it was 6 miles to get to Walmart to get some boots. So I had to walk 6 miles in a pair of boots that they fell apart. After I bought my new pair of boots, I walked out in the parking lot and the soles of my boots came off. That's how bad those boots were. But because I was walking in those boots, those worn out boots that were that bad, when I bought my new boots and I put them on and I started walking, I could feel how bad my whole body felt from walking in the worn out boots. And I still had to walk 6 miles to go back to town. And that was a very, very difficult 6 miles. That was the hardest walk of the whole summer. So a 12-mile walk wiped me out, and I was out of it for 2 to 3 days. I had zero energy. I remember how I felt for days after that. But otherwise, I didn't feel that bad. I didn't, the bike riding here is just starting to, I've noticed it. It's not helping me right now. Fitness-wise, I feel like it's hurting more than helping right now. Because to gain fitness, you need to rest, recover, push yourself. Rest, recover, push yourself. And I'm not getting rest and recover at all. I'm getting push, 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 push. And my body's just, the rest and recover is not in sync with the pushing hard part. And I'm trying to get that balance. But it's not now tomorrow I'm going to feel fine. Today I'm a little but I don't feel as bad as yesterday. Tomorrow I'll feel normal again, but it's for one day. I'm getting 1 day a week where I don't feel like shit. Because it takes the whole week to recover from that. So tomorrow, Friday, I'm going to feel good, but I know that 6 o'clock in the morning, I got to hop on the bike and go do this again. I need to have days to feel like I do tomorrow before I can get back in sync with everything. And so I don't know. It's not going. I've got to go at least another month or two like this without. I've just got to find a way to do it and just live with it. Maybe diet, maybe changes to certain things. I don't know. It's just I'm a little overwhelmed. Just everything. Having to start your life over from zero when you're 49 years old. I don't have a bed to sleep on. I don't have kitchen utensils. What was it? Cheese. I got blocks of cheese because it was cheaper than buying shredded cheese. And then I'm like, fuck, I don't have a grater for cheese. Just anything like that. You just don't even think about when you're 49 years old and you have zero. A tornado came through the trailer park and the biggest piece left over of your whole life is that big. And you have nothing at all. And you're starting from zero. It's it just never, the stress of that is unbearable sometimes. And then you need to save money, but you need to, I don't have a fucking cheese grater. You know what I mean? How do I shred cheese? I want to make my own food. I want to cook at home because I don't want to eat out every day. You need some things in the kitchen for that. Now, so I've been just using a knife to cut cheese up and stuff, but it's not, I don't know, man. It's just one thing after the next. And so, yeah, I'm watching the Tour de France. I'm behind on that, just like everything else. They issued another set of yellow cards yesterday near the finish line on stage 3. Well, so however many days ago that was. Some riders are pushing each other around, caused a big crash near the finish line. 2 yellow cards dished out. Because this is a new thing this year. They're giving out soccer. They're like, how about we do what they do in soccer and give out yellow cards? Now, I don't know if they have a red... I don't know if there's a red card where they can just throw somebody out of the race for doing something shitty. I think that's when you pee positive, or they find a motor hidden in your bike, or they catch you with a rope tied to someone's car, or getting on a train to skip going around a mountain, or whatever the fuck, you know. That's the red card, I guess. But it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game, and it's not always on purpose. You got 181 cyclists all packed up, shoulder to shoulder, racing each other, trying to beat each other to the finish line, all trying to win. Shit happens. People crash. It's part of the game. I'm not saying I want to see it, but I mean, it is part of the reason why people watch. It's the same reason people were watching my channel when I was homeless. People love to see a train wreck. They watch auto races because they like to see crashes, not because they like to see races. They watch the Tour de France because they want to see bicycles piled up on top of each other and broken collarbones. They don't want to see a safe bike race. The bike rate, the viewership goes down on these things, and they made Formula One super safe. Nobody fucking cares about it anymore. Nobody likes it anymore. It's like watching golf. Back in the day, you could be watching Formula One, someone could hit the wall and their car explodes in a ball of fire, and if the guy doesn't die, he's covered in burns all over his face. He goes around looking like Freddy Krueger for the rest of his life. But he gets back in that car and he does it again because he loves the sport. You know what I mean? That's what it was. Now it's like watching Tiger Woods win another green jacket. It's like boring. So that's why people don't want to watch my channel anymore, because I went from being homeless to having a home, and people are like, oh, fuck. He's getting his shit together. I don't want to watch this. I want to see him fall on his face. So whatever, there's a lot of metaphors there in sports that apply to other things. But here's something, speaking of, having been in prison for 20 months. Now remember, I got sentenced to 2 years in prison. I'm never going to stop saying this because I got to hammer the point home that how ridiculously fair the judicial system is in our country, and how not corrupt at all the courts are. They put me in prison for 2 years for saying shit on social media, for words. I had to share a jail cell with a guy who killed somebody. The guy killed another person, and he got 14 months for killing somebody. Okay, mean words, 2 years. Kill somebody. I would have been better off if I ran over a fucking bicyclist drunk off my ass. I would have been home 6 months sooner. Think about this. Just let that sink in for a second. Okay, now here we go. Here's another one. Just found this. This just popped up in my feed. A previously deported illegal alien has to serve 90 days in prison for chasing a U.S. attorney around with a knife. That's right, an illegal alien previously had been deported from the United States, but somehow came back. He's going to get 90 days. He got 90 days in prison for chasing around and threatening the United States Attorney for the Northern District of New York, John A. Sarcone III, with a knife. So, if I were from Mexico, came into the country illegally, and decided to go run around chasing federal officers with a fucking knife in my hand, threatening them, I would have only got 3 months in jail. I would have only got 3 months for that. But mean tweets, that's 2 years in prison for you, homie. 2 years in prison for mean tweets. 3 months in prison for chasing around a federal official with a fucking knife while you're threatening them. As long as I'm an illegal immigrant, I guess. Saul Morales Garcia, a 40-year-old previously deported illegal alien from El Salvador, had been charged last month with second-degree attempted murder in Albany County, New York, after he allegedly approached Sarcone as he was leaving a hotel and threatened him with a knife. Sarcone backed away from the illegal alien, police say, and made his way back inside the hotel as Morales Garcia shouted at him in Spanish while wielding the knife. And he got 90 days. 90 days! Because the judicial system and their courts in the United States are so fair. They're not corrupt at all. Not at all. Fuck this fucking federal government. This whole fucking country needs a reboot. This whole fucking country is so fucking corrupt. It's fucking sickening. It's fucking disgusting. And so, yeah. But here's the thing, sometimes you're having a bad day. Sometimes you're thinking about how you spent 2 years in prison for mouthing off on social media, but I could have run over a guy on a bike drunk off my ass and killed him and got 14 months. Or I could have chased after a district attorney with a knife in my hand, threatening to kill him, and got 90 days instead of 2 years. And it's like, like I've been saying, I haven't really had a bad day since I've lived here in this new place. I'm pretty tranquil now, in spite of what you hear me say. A bad day here, it's better than a good day living in the tool shed that I was living in. But another client that I had to catch up with reached out to check on me because he had been hearing about all the flooding in Texas and he wanted to make sure I'm okay. And I'm like, that's the perfect segue for me to get caught up with him and start getting things back on track with his project. And so it was good from that perspective to get in touch with him and start that process. The 4-month shit show at the tool shed, it just ripped out the rug from under me with everything I was doing, and I'm just struggling to keep up with things. And so, but anyway, he told me that he's been out of the loop. He's been out of it for a while as well, because his brother just died. And he says, things have been difficult and crazy and the whole family is distraught, understandably. And it's like, you think you're having a bad day, but you can easily find somebody that's having a worse day than you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just take anything I've complained about for the last half hour of this video, you can throw that in the trash because, this guy just lost his brother. And that's much worse. I met the guy. I asked him, I said, is this the brother that was in the Zoom meetings with you when we were talking about, the last time we were talking about your project, et cetera, et cetera. And I've met the guy before. He was in the Zoom meetings with us. And I liked the guy. He was a cool guy. I got to know him, just a little bit over some Zoom meetings and phone calls and such. And the guy, he was 48 years old. He was a year younger than me. And they started talking about maybe it was the doctors are saying it might have been a blood clot that, or something from a recent surgery that he had, but I don't know any more details, but a blood clot may have dislodged itself and ended up in his heart or something. That's what they were saying. And of course, the first thought that goes into my head is like, well, how are all these people dropping dead when they're way too young from these blood clots? Because they took the blood clot shot back in 2020. And you remember all those athletes dropping dead out on the field or having heart attacks and just boom, out of the game. And even my friend, so I didn't say a word about that. I kept my mouth shut on that. But my buddy, my friend, my client, he goes, yeah, I think it was from that fucking shot. That was what he said to me. He's like, yeah. He's like, he took those shots, and everybody I know who fell for that scam, they're all dropping like flies now. It's like, well, I didn't say it. I would have, if they had tried to forcefully make me take that shot, I would have put a bullet in someone for that. I would have defended myself at the point of a gun. If they tried to hold me down and force that needle into my arm, I would have like, that would have been the breaking point. I would have been on a rampage. I lost my job over it. I worked from home at a remote job that was a remote job from 2019 onward. I never had to go to the office. I did go to the office, sometimes 5 days a week, sometimes none. But it was my choice. I worked from home. 2019. Then this company comes at me and says, if you don't take the jab, you lose your job. You lose your job working from home for not taking for not participating in a fucking whacked out Dr. Mengele Nazi Germany medical experiment. No, thank you. You can take your job and shove it up your fucking ass. You and the whole fucking Jim Jones vaccine Kool-Aid cult that I worked with. Scumbags. Total fucking scumbags. And that was the catalyst that sent me down the road to where I ended up in prison, because I was so fucking angry about that. Now, I'm not blaming them for what I did, but if you want to understand how somebody goes down that fucking road to get to where I was, it started on that day. I've hated this fucking government my whole life. I hate the United States. I fucking hate the federal government with every fiber of my soul. You're all a bunch of corrupt fucking pieces of shit that do nothing but ruin the lives of the people that live in this country on a daily basis. You're scum of the earth. I fucking hate all of you. But the thing that pushed me down the edge of talking the way I was talking started on the day that I was fired from a work from home job because I wouldn't take a fucking shot and become part of a fucking medical experiment. And I'm just like dumbfounded by how fucking wrong that was. And I will never forgive the people. I will never fucking forgive you people that went along with that shit. Never. I know I'm supposed to. I know God wants me to just fucking let it go. But the hatred, the level of hatred I have toward the people who fucking perpetuated that scam is so fucking beyond. I don't know. I don't know how to forgive that. That would be like the Jews forgiving the Nazis. I mean, maybe not at the same level. But that's kind of like the same, we're in the same territory there. Like anybody who went along with that. Because I feel people out all the time. Like I say things, just very subtle things, to see where people stand to this day. Because I've talked about cool tests and just kind of poking and prodding. And if I want to get to know people, there's subtle. Somebody the other day, I think, was poking and prodding me to see where I'm at. on the cool test. I picked up on a cool test that was thrown my way. Somebody was like, just randomly in the middle of the day was like, oh my God, it's almost 420. Look at that. And I'm like, indeed it is. Indeed it is. I really wish it were 420 right now. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, and I can't celebrate when the clock strikes 420. That's not even in the cards. I'm not going back to fucking prison for smoking a fucking bowl. I'll tell you that much. I can live without that. I mean, it would make these bike rides a hell of a lot better. It would make that shit a hell of a lot easier to deal with. I'm not gonna lie. A hell of a lot easier to deal with. But I got too many things to do right now. I'm just, that's not a part of my life. That's not something, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm way more against drinking than that. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I can't stand Republicans, because they're all about, all the states that made weed legal are fine with me, because it's like, people who have never smoked weed before think that it's like the worst thing on earth and it's, you know, a horrible drug. They're all out getting drunk. These fucking dumbass redneck Republican hillbillies get drunk all the fucking time and they don't see anything wrong with that. Smoking weed is way different than, it's way more tame to your body than alcohol. So anybody who's ever smoked a bowl knows that it's not as bad as drinking. And drinking is legal and weed's not. The only people who are against legal weed are the people who don't do it and don't know anything about it and don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So we're just going to leave it at that for today. But somebody threw a cool test at me the other day, was like, it's almost 420. And I'm like, is it? And I just kind of tried to, like, you know, be subtle back. That, like, I'm not, you know, I'm a friend of yours. You're a friend of, you know, we're the same kind of people. But, you know, I'm not, but it's not something I can do. I can't be like, hey, let's go and go out, you know, and go out to the back parking lot or whatever. But it's just not in the cards. I haven't fucking done that since, I can't even remember, like years. So it's fine. I don't have the craving for it. Because I know the first time I go, first time I take a little puff, Johnny Law is going to show up with a plastic cup the very next day. I can tell you that will happen. It's just the way it works. That guy, I won't see him for 6 fucking months, poop, poop, and all of a sudden, here. it'll be like 3 hours later he shows up with a cup in his hand. So no, I'm not fucking around with that. I've even been told that, they'll let you fail like 8 times before they violate you on that. And I'm like, well, then I won't violate. They won't have to worry about me failing at 1 time. Maybe the day that I know they're not going to be up my ass anymore and I can get the fuck out of Law and Order Texas and go back to a place like Pennsylvania or New York, I'm sure I can arrange to have something ready for me when I get there. But otherwise, it's not happening. But, you know, when you hear about somebody, like I was saying, I'm just going to repeat myself. When you hear about somebody losing their brother, it's like, that's way worse than anything I've gone through since I've been out of prison. You know, you heard me complain a little bit so far this video, but it's like a lot of it isn't so much complaining. I've accepted the way things are. It's more like I'm sharing the struggles with you as part of this documentary of what it's like to have your life stripped away from you for doing something stupid. And, you know, I don't hate riding my bicycle. I don't hate riding my bicycle at all. At all. I love it. I love riding my bike. I come home from riding my fucking bike to sit in a chair and watch people ride a bike on TV. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to cycling. I love it. A lot of times when I'm on my bicycle, I'm happier than you've ever seen me in front of this camera. I love it. I love being on my bike. There's a lot of times where I'm on my bicycle and I'm cycling along, and even if I'm not feeling good, like I'm tired, I'm worn out, and I'm just like, oh, I just want to get home. I'll think back to when I was at Club Fed, sitting in a spinning class in federal prison. That doesn't even sound right. Oh, I went to federal prison. I was in spinning class. But shit is so fucked up. Spinning class in federal prison. I would close my eyes and try to pretend that I'm out on the open road cycling and the wind is in my face and, you know, I'm going up and down hills and just like close my eyes and pretend I'm not here. And now I'm doing it. Regularly. More than I want to. But, I mean, I really think back about it wasn't that long ago that I wish I could go out and do what I'm doing, and I'm doing it all the time now, and I can do it whenever I want now, and nobody's telling me when I can and can't do it. I could go out at 2 a.m. if I want, get on my bicycle and go for a spin. Like, nobody's telling me. I don't even have the curfew like at the homeless shelter. Nobody's telling me what to do and what not to do when it comes to that. So I'm grateful. More than anything, I'm grateful to be able to go out and ride my bike all the time. But, you know, like I said, the two biggest problems in the tool shed were being worn out from all the cycling, 100 to 200 plus miles a week, and then the heavy physical labor at the job, and then B, having the scam artist slumlord no hot water and trying to strong arm me and scam me out of money that he didn't deserve and that he had no legal right to try and take. And so I got the scam artist out of my life and I fucked him. Karma came back to that motherfucker. I don't know what's going on. Don't give a shit. It's in the past. But having a somewhat normal space to live, it's small. I mean, but, you know, I've seen apartments that are worse than this, and this is like its own unit, you know, so I feel like it's a little better than an apartment here. You know, a bigger tiny house is better than an apartment, in my opinion. But I mean, I've seen that garage apartment was nicer than this. I see that it's still available. It's July 10th, and that garage apartment that I wanted so bad hasn't been rented yet. That's still available. I saw that yesterday. They keep renewing the ad. So that every time I see that ad get renewed and pushed back to the top of the feed and then it shows up because Facebook Marketplace thinks I'm still interested in it, it cracks me up because how horrible would that landlord be to rent from if he's that picky about who he's going to rent the place to? Like, that was like the middle of April that I went and looked at that place, and now it's the middle of July, and he still hasn't rented this out. And from what he was telling me, he's had dozens of people come to look at that place, to probably many of them offering him money. And then he just kind of, I don't know, we'll see, I don't know, give me a call next week. Holy fuck, dude, could you imagine having that dude as a landlord? Like, he's going to be forcing his way into your place and micromanaging everything about your home. Well, I don't like the way that you stacked your dishes in the cupboard. You know, I don't like, what else is he going to, what would he actually do? I don't like the fact that you keep your bicycle stored indoors. You know, like, what is he going to do? You hung a picture up on the wall. Oh, that's coming out of your security deposit. How did you hang that photo up? Did you drill a hole in my wall? You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be a fucking holy shit. That's going to be tough, having him for a landlord. Every time that ad gets renewed, I'm like, damn. So I'm glad I didn't get that place. I don't need another fucking douchey landlord in my life at all. The guy I'm dealing with now, he's chill. I have no beef so far. The worst thing that's happened is they cut the power a couple of times while they were working on construction. I think that's the worst of it so far. I don't know, man. But yeah, I got to get the bakery. I got to figure something out with the bakery. And I got no beef with this job at all. The money, it is what it is. I mean, it's not enough to live off of. That's why I'm not living off of it. But I never expected it to be good. I mean, I knew what it was when I signed up. I knew what it was when I applied to it. So there's nothing like, I don't get mad about that. That was my own choice. It helps me keep my groceries. I can go grocery shopping. I can pay for some of the things on Amazon. I can keep my bicycles maintained by doing that job. All the random little things that adds up. Sometimes I can spend as much on the bicycle maintenance as a car payment. It's just that, you know, I mean, they do need, I need to replace the brake pads on both bikes. It's like $50. So some months show that I spend like $50 on transportation. Some months show that I spend like $400 on transportation, which is like a car payment at that point. But, you know, like I said earlier, sometimes I just sit back and I realize, you know, when I'm thinking about my friend and his brother, you know, I could be flying down the road on my bicycle, having the time of my life and being happy about it without a care in the world. And then all of a sudden I'm not. And it's over. Game over. I'm no more. The bike ride is no more. Like somebody scraping me up off the pavement with a spatula or whatever. The guy in the Dodge Ram finally got his way and ran me over. Maybe a blood. Well, I don't have to worry about the blood clots because I didn't take that shot. But you know, I've got a good heart. That's what they always say. The people in my family, we got good hearts. But I eat cheeseburgers and bad food, so maybe my heart isn't all that great. We'll find out. But you know, that could be. You know, you never know. You could just stroke out, be riding down the road, and all of a sudden, lights out, game over. It's over. It can happen like that. And so, you know, this can happen to you, can happen to anybody at any time. Kids should not outlive, parents should not outlive their children. But in this case, my friend here, his dad and mom are both still alive, even though the son is 48 years old. And mom and dad had to bury their own kid. That shouldn't be, that just shouldn't be. But, you know, it happens, but it shouldn't. It's not good. That makes everything even worse. Parents should not outlive their kids. I don't know. I mean, I just pause when I think about these things. Let's see. I got to start getting ready to go on a 15-mile bike ride soon to go to the bank. I got to do some things before that. Hopefully, the sun looks like it's starting to poke its way out. It's not supposed to rain today, but we have been getting thunderstorms almost every day. I don't know what's normal and what's not here. I know we live in the tropical climate, and you know, thunderstorms are a part of living in a tropical climate. So I just, you know, I'm like, whatever. I've only lived here. This is my first summer in Houston, so I don't know. but other people have told me that it's not normal, the amount of rain that we're getting lately. And when you look at other places in Texas and what's going on around the state, it's definitely not normal. Like, not normal to the extent of what the fuck's going on. Looks like the Clinton Foundation is going to get involved with the rescue efforts over out in the hill country where all the flooding was. And you know, that announcement came the day after Donald Trump announced that, why does anybody care about Jeffrey Epstein and what he did? After Donald Trump just gave all the elite pedophiles a free pass, say, go ahead and rape more kids, I'm not going to do anything about it. All of a sudden, Chelsea Clinton shows up and says, we're going to go down and help these poor children down in the hill country of Texas who are caught up in this flood. Yeah, remember what they, just like when they went down to Haiti and scooped up all those kids to take off to, Epstein Island or wherever the fuck they take them. So if you got kids out in the hill country of Texas, you keep an eye on them. Don't let them go outside. Don't let them go play with their friends. Keep them at home for a bit. While the Clintons are down there, keep your kids at home. I would rather my kid go get free candy from the creepy guy at the playground with the free candy van than go and see the fucking Clinton Foundation when they're in town. That's for fucking sure. But I just got to go ride my bike, so of course the sun's going to come out. Jesus loves me. He doesn't want me to ride in the rain. I keep saying that. I've gone on like 170 fucking bike rides so far, and I've been rained on 2 or 3 times. So I'll take that as a sign. The last time I got rained on, I didn't even get wet, which is kind of weird. I kind of got wet. It was more like a cool off. It was like sometimes when it's really hot, I'll take a water bottle and dump it on my head and cool myself off and have that water with the wind as you're riding, it cools you off. And it was the last time it rained on me, that's what it was like. I was like, oh, I don't have to dump a water bottle on my head anymore. Jesus is doing it for me. But I go to the bank. But we got these thunderstorms, and when the lightning comes, so I'm going to do something today that's going to solve a whole bunch of problems for $25. I unplug my laptop and certain other things when lightning storms come. And randomly, and older, it's pretty old, but it's a APC UPS power backup, power supply on Facebook Marketplace. And it's right next to where I have to go to the bank. So I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to get $25 in my hand. I'm going to go get this thing, bring it home. And what it is, for those who don't know, a UPS, it's a universal power supply. Uninterrupted power supply. I don't know what it stands for, but it's a power block that you plug into your wall, and it has a battery inside of it. And when you plug your computers and stuff into it, if the power goes out, you'll have a certain amount of time before the power to your devices turns off. So in this case, I have a MacBook with 5 hard drives, and the 5 hard drives need to be on a powered USB hub, because the MacBook can't supply enough power to the hard drives to keep them up and running. So if the power goes out, my hard drives randomly disconnect from the computer. And I want a little bit of surge protection. I have a decent power supply strip that everything's plugged into, so there is a little bit of surge protection there. This will just help with that for $25. Now, it's old. It's more than 10 years old. I did get my check in the mail yesterday. So like I was saying, I didn't even worry about it. But after I paid my rent, this month because it was a huge payment. I was tapped out. I said this in the last video. My check came in the mail yesterday. So I only had to go like, when did I pay my rent? What was it? It was the 1st. But I wasn't completely tapped out. Sunday, I was completely tapped out when I went to the grocery store and picked up a few groceries to get through the week. I spent my last $50 that I could keep. I had less than $100 left in the bank after I got groceries. But I only had to go 3 days and a check showed up in the mail, and then tomorrow I get paid from the bakery, so I'm kind of bounced right back to an extent. And it's the middle of the month, and then I have the rest of this month to try to bankroll some more deposits, and I'll be fine. Should be fine. But for $25 today, I can go pick this thing up, but it's more than 10 years old, and it uses a sealed lead acid battery, and those so I'm expecting that this thing is so old that the battery inside of it is not going to be that good. She showed a video to me of the thing actually powering a fan, so it does work to an extent, but how much does it work? I don't know. But for $25, I can get a 9 amp hour battery to replace the battery in it. And so for $50, I can get a almost brand new UPS that is a little bit better than an entry-level UPS because they come with a 7 amp hour battery, and then the replacement at the same level of the one I'm buying, just a basic UPS, is like $60 to $80 with a 7 amp hour battery. So I'm gonna have, for $50, I'll have a UPS with a 9 amp hour battery. And so the estimates, I was using AI, I was using Grok to kind of give me an estimate of how long can I expect my laptop and my 5 hard drives to stay powered. About an hour. So if the power goes out, my depending on what I'm doing, because the MacBook will draw power differently depending on what you're doing, it could be up to 94 watts. It could be as little as 30 watts. Plus, so for an hour, let's say for an hour, I will have power coming to my laptop and my hard drives. If I need to continue working on something, at some point I can disconnect the hard drives from my Mac so that they don't randomly disconnect when the power supply dies. And then my MacBook has a built-in battery that if it's charged to 100%, I'll get hours of time off of that to continue working. So with this power supply backup, I could conceivably work for another 3 to 4 hours with a power outage. And then, so let's say down the road, I want to get a better power backup for my office station. And I want to get like a newer one with the best lightning protection and the best, something that's higher end, something that costs more than $100. I'll still have this one I'm getting today. And what I calculated using AI, and I didn't want to do the math myself, but if I plug my T-Mobile hotspot into this UPS that I'm buying today with the 9 amp hour battery fully charged, and the only thing plugged into it is my T-Mobile hotspot, if the power goes out, that thing should power my T-Mobile hotspot for up to 5 or 6 hours. Now, I don't know but hours. 4 hours to 6 hours, let's say. So if the power goes out for an extended period of time, if I between the two UPS things, I could have anywhere from, a half, depending on how good the battery is when I buy it today. I'm not going to expect, in fact, I'm half tempted to just get a battery for it right away and not even test it. because it's so old. But whatever, if it has a decent battery life in it right now, a half hour to an hour of power for my workstation, if the power goes out during a lightning storm, is not a bad thing, and it's uninterrupted, so that other things in my house will turn off, but these won't. The internet will disconnect, but I can connect to a hotspot on my phone and get back up and running. So there's multiple options here. And it's just as preparedness, I'm trying to get back into preparedness. This is a good thing. So for $25 to get it in my hand today, plug it in, try it out, use it, maybe put it to the test, unplug it from the wall after I've charged it for 24 hours or whatever, plugged in, plug in my laptop and workstation into it, and then unplug it from the wall and see how long it goes. That's a good test. And then if I need to get a battery, it's $25 on Amazon for a better battery than what the thing came with. So I think that's a decent, it's older, but they're considered pretty reliable, and people they have good reviews. So it's a decent, I see these things in use still in different places. I notice people are still using this model. And I've seen it around still to this day. But it also solves multiple problems here, because now I've got a power strip with a backup battery and all that. I got a power strip for my office area now, which now I can take and move my, what's the word? So now I've got a power strip for the office area. Now I can take the power strip that I have for my office area, which is actually a 10-foot long or 20-foot long. I don't remember. It's long. It's a really long extension cord. Now I can use that extension cord for my TV area. I was about to buy a $15 power supply extension cord for my TV and stuff that I've got this ghetto rig job with daisy chained power strips leading up to my TV. I can get rid of all that and just run a single cord over there and make it more neat and clean and use that. And then now I have 2 power strips left over from that I can use for other things. One of them I already have a use for over where my T-Mobile hotspot's plugged in. It's plugged in directly to a wall right now, but the wall it's really close to my bed or my cot, and it gets knocked around sometimes because it's right there. And so having a power strip would help me there. And then the other power strip I already use when it's for laundry to plug my washing machine into. And so I can just have it over there and use it for that without, so basically I can spend $25 today and solve a whole bunch of problems at once, and maybe drop another $25 next time I get paid, or today, or this weekend, or whatever. I don't know how it all works out, but for $50, it's still cheaper than getting a basic UPS for my system, and it should give me more power if I replace the battery. Then it should give me more time to wrap up what I'm doing on my computer when the power goes out than a basic UPS would. And in the event that I upgrade and get a better UPS, I can take that one and plug it into my T-Mobile hotspot, and now I can have solid internet. In the event of a power outage, I can have internet for hours, for like a whole day's worth of work. I can't remember the last time power was out for more than a couple of hours in my world. And if the power is going to be out for more than that, that means that something bad happened, like a storm or the New World Order or whatever. Something's going down. But anyway, 25 bucks. I was about to pay 15 bucks for an extension cord. Now I don't have to. So that's only 10 bucks more. And it solves multiple problems. I think that's a decent thing right now. 60 to 80 bucks to get one on Amazon that's brand new. I'm paying 50, and it should be better than the ones that are brand new. Maybe the new modern ones have better surge protection, but this one will be fine. I don't know. One way or another, it's going to be useful, and it's going to solve some problems. And I don't think it's like a smashing deal. It's not like a unicorn or anything like that. It was just something that popped up in my feed. It just happened to be right next to where I'm going to the bank already. And so I was like, all right, I'll do that. Just cross off something off I can cross off like 3 things off of my to-do list just by doing that today. So that's about where I'm at. It's just the update. I'm going to do a live stream later today, but I don't know when this video will go up. It'll go up the next time I gather all the videos and upload them all at once and then set them to show up on day after day. I could stop just telling you the day that the video is recorded, and then you wouldn't even know that I did, you wouldn't even know that they're a week behind, because I'm not talking about anything important other than like stage whatever of the Tour de France. I'm not even watching the Tour de France in real time. I'm days behind. By the time the race is over, I might be a week behind because I'm watching it. I'm watching the actual race, but I don't have time to sit there for 5 hours a day and do it. But I'm watching the entire thing as if I'm watching it live. So whatever. So anyway, with that, I'm just going to say peace out, and we'll talk again.